Hi everyone. Today we're going to start our first chapter, chapter 1, discovering Java. This chapter is introduction to Java, where we learn all the basics of Java, like what is Java, what is a class, what is an object. You might have heard few of these words before, and we'll be going in details about these terms. So let us start. So you can see there is a big bird here. This is no one but you. We are flying to this island. You can see a big island is there. And this is nothing but this is the Java island, where there are many things to discover about Java. So now we'll fly to this island and one by one we'll be discovering new things about Java and learning all the details about Java. Before flying to this island, I want to let you know that this chapter is important in Java because you'll be getting around 4 to 6 marks in ICSE board exam, which may help you to fetch 100 out of 100 also. Okay, so let's fly. The first question comes, what is Java? And this is the definition. But before coming to the definition, students, they ask, what is the full form of Java? Like basic has its full form. But Java doesn't have one. So if someone has told you that this is the full form Java, no, Java doesn't have any full form. So let's move to the definition. So what is Java? Java is a general purpose object oriented programming language developed by Sun Microsystem, USA in 1991. The question comes, why is Java a general purpose? What do you mean by general purpose? Okay, let's come to this. What is general purpose? This guy is a student like you. And he wants to go to school today. We know everyone goes to school to study. Not the case always. Yeah, we study there. That's the main purpose. But the purpose of this guy to go to school is to meet his friend, his best friend. There is another guy. Let this guy be A, this guy be B. He also wants to go to school, but his purpose is different. Not to meet his best friend, but to play cricket. There is another guy. He also wants to go to school, but he also has a different purpose. It may be to study his favorite subject. So everyone goes to the same place, that is a school. But no one has the same purpose. This guy A wants to meet his friend, the guy B wants to play cricket, and the guy C wants to study his favorite subject. Similarly, Java. Millions people are learning Java. Many people. But everyone has some different purpose. A software engineer is learning Java to do what? To create softwares. You are learning Java obviously to gain knowledge, But yeah, what is the most important thing in class 10? Get marks. So we can say that you are learning Java to get marks. Okay, never go for marks. If you gain the knowledge, the marks will come automatically. So run behind knowledge and not behind marks. Some layman may be using Java. Doesn't have to learn Java but uses Java, like in form of mobile softwares. All the apps that you download from Google Play are somehow made out of Java. So to use these apps, you have to know how to use it, right? Like, for example, WhatsApp. So you have to learn how to message, how to send photos, how to send voice messages. So indirectly, you are learning Java. Okay, not the programming part, but yeah, Java is of some purpose to your life. So everyone is somehow in this world is related to Java, but they have different purposes. Like a software engineer is using Java for designing softwares. You are learning Java to get marks. Everyone has to be attached with Java to use softwares in their mobile phones. So therefore it is known as general purpose. It is general because it is used by the whole world, and everyone has some different purpose for using Java. And our purpose is to learn it and to get good marks in your board exam. It is a general purpose object oriented programming. Okay, we'll come to object oriented programming a little later in this chapter and we'll move on. It is a language. Last class in the introduction video I talked about what is a language. So Java is one of a computer language which was developed by the company Sun Microsystem. So this is the logo of the company Sun Microsystem. You can see this noodle type of logo. It's beautiful. Okay, why every company has a logo? Every company has a logo. If I draw just a logo, you can say that which company it is. Like when I do some rounds, it is like Audi. And for example, if I do like S and little design, it may be Suzuki. And some all different companies have some logos. Yeah. So I'll tell you. When you went to your nursery, did you study like big stories? No. They taught about A, B, and where A was small, but the apple, the picture of the apple was big. Because the thing is, we remember pictures more quickly than words or sentences. So therefore all companies have developed some logos. Everyone, even Dibe classes has a logo like DC, and here Dibe class is written because you will remember for a longer time. You may forget the name, but you can say, oh, I have seen this company somewhere. So therefore all the companies have some logo, and similarly Sun Microsystem have their own logo, and it was developed in the year 1991. Sun Microsystem is based out of USA. I think everyone wants to visit USA. It's a great place. And it was developed in 1991. So almost like going to be 30 years in 2021, right? Yeah, it's an old language, but it is still new for everyone because there's still much more to learn in Java. Okay, but before the name Java, it was originally called as Oak by James Gosling, one of the inventor of this language. James Gosling was not the only man who created Java. He had a team. There were 3 of them, and out of which James Gosling was basically leading the team. Therefore, his name is more highlighted. So, have you seen James Gosling? Okay, I will show you his picture. Yeah, he's a handsome guy with less hair and more of beard. So before it was called as Java, it was called as Oak. There are many stories related to this. and whatever I have read, the name Oak came actually. There is a window in front of his office, James Gosling office, where he was sitting and doing or creating Java. So through that window, he can see a oak tree, and he decided to give the name Oak to this programming language. And later, I don't know what happened. They changed the name to Java. But why Java? Was Oak not a good name? Yes, it was. It was smaller. So actually, Java came from the name. If you heard about in your geography classes, maybe Java and Sumatra Island. So it came from that Java Island. If you can see, Java is a logo where you have a cup and a saucer and some hot beverages inside it. What do you think? What is the hot beverages? It may be tea, coffee, or just warm milk, right? Or Bonvita or chocolate drink. Yeah, it is nothing but it is coffee. So this Java island and this coffee is related. Therefore, the name is Java and the logo is a hot cup of coffee. So Java produces some of the best coffee in the world, and the team of James Gosling used to drink coffee. Coffee has a high caffeine rate that will not make you feel sleepy. So writing a program or creating a programming language takes lots of time, hard work. So they have to be awake whole night, and they used to drink coffee to get energy, kind of thing. And so they dedicated the name to Java Coffee because somehow it has helped them to create this beautiful language. So Java, this is the story about how Java name came. This is not going to come in your board exam, but it is good to learn what is the story behind this programming language. So we'll move forward. So why was Java developed? Java was developed keeping in mind to develop softwares, because programming language are basically created to create softwares for consumer electronic devices such as TVs, VCRs. VCRs is video cassette recorders, mobile phones, and other similar kind of electronic devices. So what are consumer electronics? Okay, consumer, and there is another term that is known as customer. For example, your father goes to the shop and buys a 5-star chocolate. So is he a consumer or a customer? Everyone said he is a customer. There is some difference between consumer and customer. So let's talk about this 5-star. Your papa goes, he buys 5-star, and he eats himself. Okay, he eats the 5-star, and he didn't give you. He eats himself. Then he is the consumer, and if he buys and give it to you and you consume that 5-star, consume means to eat, and if you eat the 5-star, he becomes the customer and you become the consumer. Consumer means the person who uses it is a consumer. It is not necessary that you have to go and buy the 5-star to eat it. Okay, if he eats, he is both the consumer and customer. If you eat, you are the consumer, but he is the customer for that shopkeeper. The shopkeeper will say that you are the consumer because your papa buys, he is the customer, and you consume it. So you are the consumer and your papa is the customer. If papa eats the 5 star by himself, then he is both consumer and the customer. So consumer electronics means electronics that we consume. Okay, for example, air conditioner. We consume means we use it. In simple words, consume means to use it. The electronics which you use are known as consumer electronics. The AC is used by you, your father, your mother, everyone in your family. So this becomes electronics that is used by everyone. So these are known as consumer electronics like TV, mobile phones. Okay, these are all known as consumer electronics. So this Java language was created to create softwares for this consumer electronics. That was the main purpose. Easy to use, like when you switch on the when you press the remote control of the TV, it got switch on. So there is some kind of programs written, or maybe in your mobile phone when you touch your screen, then somehow some electronics are transferred and some softwares are written and it works accordingly, like your WhatsApp. If you press this will happen and that. So this everything is written using Java language. So let us move forward. So first we'll now study characteristics of object-oriented programming. So in the previous slide, we saw that what is Java? Java is a general purpose object-oriented programming language. So we'll talk about object-oriented programming language a bit later, where we'll compare with POP, procedure-oriented programming languages, where I will explain in detail what is OOP actually. Java is not the only OOP language. There are many other OOP languages like Python, and like there are many new like Ruby, and many new softwares are programming languages are coming in. So and all of these OOP languages share a common characteristics, which are object, class, encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, and data abstraction. So there are total 6 characteristics of OOP language, and similarly these are also characteristics of a Java language. And we'll be going in details about what is object, what is class, what is encapsulation, what is inheritance, what is polymorphism, what is data abstraction, one by one. In this video we'll be studying about object and class, and in further videos we'll be studying about all other characteristics in details. So before going into the details of each one, in 2005 and in 2015 in ICSE board, this question came, name 2 OOPS principles. So here you have 2 marks question. So till now you have already fetched 2 out of 100. Great. So out of the 6 OOPS principle, you have to write just 2. Just write object and class. Why to write encapsulation, inheritance, and make some spelling mistakes? Okay, if you are doubtful, you can write 3 also, doesn't matter. But if it has asked to stick to 2 answers, just write object and class. If you want to write some more, or you have to write different, you can write encapsulation, you can write inheritance, you can write polymorphism, you can write data abstraction, any out of 6. Okay, so it has come in 2005, 2015. It may get repeated in future years. So these are the answer: object, class, encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, data abstraction. So first comes, what is an object? This is the definition according to Java programming. An object is a self-contained unit of data and code. I have written here instance. I will talk about this later. And an object can be an item, place, person, or any other entity. So an object is a self-contained unit of data and code. In simple layman terms, what is object? This is your world. This is your universe. Okay. In this universe, there are many things. Starting from the big, like the stars, like the sun, the planets, the natural satellites, like moon. Inside our Earth, there are many objects like trees, your house, your school, your roads, your street lights, your car, bus, everything, even human beings. You can see there are many things in this world. Animals, everything is one object. Everything in this world is one object. Okay? And what is object? An object is a self-contained unit of data and code. Okay, let's get into details of this definition. Self-contained. What do you mean by self-contained? Okay. This is a human being. And I said that everything in this world is one object. So this human being is also one object. And all human beings have a small brain that works big. And this brain has all the knowledge, all the information, which sometimes we also say data. Information like, let us talk about small information. Information like how to use your hand, how to use your leg, how to use your eyes, how to use your nose, how to use your mouth. You have knowledge about this, right? This is information. This is data. Your parents have taught you since your birth how to use all these body parts. Hand to run? No. Obviously not to run. Leg to run. Hand to write, to eat. Eyes to see. Nose to smell. Mouth to eat. Ears to listen. If your parents would have taught you have to use your nose to eat and mouth to smell, your hand to run, no, because you have already learned how to use this. Let's give an example. Hand is not only used for eating, no, it may be used for writing. So this hand has multiple purposes, yes, but you have to use this accordingly. For example, there is food in front of you. You're not going to write now, but you will be using to eat. When you see a copy and teacher is dictating, you will use your hand to write. Someone is beating you. You will use your hand to beat? Never do this. Okay? Never beat anyone. It is not a good thing. Complain to your parents or your teachers. Okay? So this hand, you know how to use, but also when to use, how to use, in which situation, in different situations. And that is known as coding. Your brain works accordingly. What should I do now with my hand? Should I eat? There is a copy in front of you. You are not going to eat it, right? You are going to write something on it. There is food. You are going to eat with your hands. So different purposes in different situations. Okay. So this is known as information, means you know how to use your hand, like how to eat with your hand, how to write with your hand, and different things. Similarly, you also know the coding part of it. Coding means when to use which information, like when to use your hand for eating, you know how to eat, but when to use it for it. You know how to write, but when to use it to write. You know how to beat, but when to use it for beating. If your parents beat you, you are not going to beat him. If your friend beat you, okay, you can beat him. Okay, so you have to use a knowledge right there, and there is some code your parents has taught, right? When to eat, when to write with your hand, and do different thing. So this brain has set of information and code, and this brain, our brain, which contains information and code, is self-contained. Is self-contained. An object is a self-contained unit of data and code. So what is self-contained? Self-contained means you have some knowledge, like for example, today you learnt about how to add two numbers, and your friend was absent in your class, and he asks you that what teacher taught today. If you are not going to share the information, like how to add these two numbers, for example 5 plus 2, will he no? Will he like steal from your brain? No. So all this data remains within yourself. Therefore it is known as self-contained unit of. It is not passed from one object to another object. Like for example, a fan has some information. Here we'll say it as data. What data? The data or the knowledge is I need to rotate to give some wind. What code? Basically the instructions. When the switch is on, if the switch is off, it is not going to give wind. But when the switch is on, it is going to, and this property will never change. Therefore it is known as self-contained. Why it will never change? Because the fan will give only one thing, that is wind, till it is not broken down. Okay, these properties will not be passed to the light. Will tomorrow when you switch on the light it will give you wind? No, because the fan will never pass these properties to the bulb. Similarly, bulb has its own properties, that is to give light, and it is self-contained. It will never share its properties with another one. So all this object in this world has some own properties, and that is within themselves, that is their own properties. Therefore it is known as self-contained. And everything is an object, so every item, every place, every person in this world is one object. These are few examples. Guitar is an object and it has its own properties. The music, each string has different music. Banana has its own properties that will never change. Banana will always remain yellow or maybe green when it is raw, but it will never become red. Grapes, they have their own taste. So all objects have their own properties, that is self-contained, that never change over the period. Therefore it is known as a self-contained unit of data and code, and data and code makes up the properties of an object. All human beings have their own object. Today I am thin, tomorrow you will not see me fat like a buffalo or like an elephant. Colors have their own properties. Vehicles have their own properties. All vehicles are used for different purposes also. Like your like auto rickshaw is a public transportation system, not you will buy for your house. Animals have their own properties. Places have their own properties. You can just see the place and know that yes, I know this place because it has own properties like Qutub Minar. You can see this picture and you can know that yes, this is Qutub Minar found in Delhi, and this is Rath Yatra happening in Puri. Rath Yatra festival is a world known festival that happens in Puri every year in around June, July. So a question came in the year 2006, like that was using an example, explain the term object. For this, you have to write the definition of the object. That is, it is a self-contained unit of data and code. An example, you can write that everything in this world is an example of object, like apple or like car. Everything is one example of object. We'll learn about the details of object in Java in class 10, not right now in more details, but for now you can say that everything in this world is one object. It can be a car, a pen, a pencil, and a fruit like apple. Everything is one object. Now we'll move to the next principle of OOP, that is a class. So what is a class? A class is a collection of similar types of objects. So like, see this example. Banana is an object. Apple is an object. Grapes is an object. All the three are object. And they have their own properties. Like banana is long. Apple is like circular. Grapes has a bunch of fruits attached together. Okay. And they have their own color, like grapes are like green, black, or sometimes red. Apple is either green apple or red apple. Yeah. And banana is green or yellow, and there are many varieties like violet and many other colors also. But yeah, you can see and tell that this is banana, this is apple, this is grape. They have their own unique taste also. You will eat apple and not tell that it tastes like banana, because all have their own taste. But they are also similar somehow. Okay, they are also similar somehow. Not same. There is difference between same and similar. Same means exactly same. Like two pens. Like for example, your the cello gripper pen. If you buy two cello gripper pen, they will be same, identical. I'm not talking about that. Similar means they are not same, but somehow there is some thing similar between themselves. Like all these three are different, but they're same. That is their fruit. Now, how they're qualified as fruit? According to biology, anything that is a seed, okay, that comes from the flower, are known as fruit. Like tomato has seeds, so it is also a fruit. That is somehow the definition came up by the scientist. So they have some similarity. That is, for example, they have all seeds. Okay, banana has seeds, the black seeds, if you can see. Apple has seeds, obviously. Grapes, yeah, when if you eat a little early, you will not find it, but grapes do have seeds between them. So this is the common properties. And when we group these types of objects which have some similarity among themselves, that can be known as a class. So what is class? A class is collection of similar type of object. Like in second example, I will explain you. Vehicle. All these three are vehicle. All are different. Like car has 4 wheels, auto rickshaw has 3 wheels, and your scooter has 2 wheels. They're different. They look different. Scooty can have 2 persons, car can have 4 persons, auto can have 3 to 4 persons again. So they're different, but they're also same, because it is used for one thing, to go from one place to another place. That is a common between them. Therefore, we can say this collection of these 3 objects is a class. Similarly, animals. You can see a cat. She is different. You can see the sheeps, they are different. We drink milk of sheep but not cat, so they are different. But they're again categorized into one thing, that is animal, because there's some same property, that is they're living beings, and basically they have less knowledge, therefore they are animals and you are human beings. That is the main thing they have divided, scientists have divided. So when different objects, and we combine these different objects, and they, if they have some same properties and they can be grouped together, then we can say that it forms a class. So what is class? A class is a collection of similar type of object. Like for example, if you take a pen and a mango and want to tell that this is one class, no, that is wrong, because pen is completely different, mango is completely different. There is no relation between them. Not a single common properties is present between a mango and a pen. So we cannot say that it is a collection of similar type of object. This is completely different objects. There is no similarity between them. But if we combine a mango and an orange, yeah, we can say that this is a class because they have some similar property. They are fruit. So vehicle. And the animal, like pen and pencil can be grouped together because both are used for writing. So we can say that it is a class of office stationaries or school stationaries. So I think you have understand what is object and class. So we'll move forward. In 2009, the question came, why is class called a factory of objects? Simple, it is nothing but since a class is a collection of similar type of objects, it is known as a factory. But I will explain in more details by giving an example of a factory. So this is a big factory. Let this be a chocolate factory. Chocolate factory. So what do you think you will see in a chocolate factory? Big machines that are used for creating chocolates. Human beings to operate those machines. Not only operate those machines, but other works like marketing, finance, and many other things. Your parents may be doing jobs. You can ask them that if you're working in a factory, what type of work you're doing. Not only they're working on machines, but many other things. Since it's a big factory, it is a big area, there might be trees, many vehicles, big buildings, and maybe some stray animals walking here and there. Okay, they don't have any purpose here. And canteen for the employees to eat. Okay, many other things, right? And all these things are present in a single factory. Like this machine, the purpose of this machine is to create chocolate. The purpose of this human beings is again to create chocolate. Your parents are going to the chocolate. If your parent is working in a chocolate factory, you will go to create chocolate, not pizza, right? Okay, these trees, it is somehow mandatory for according to the government that if you are creating a factory and you are taking land by cutting trees, you have to plant equal number of trees. There are some rules and regulation. And trees give oxygen because there is pollution, and if you plant trees, it somehow reduces. So you can say that okay, it is part of a factory. It reduces pollution. Okay, vehicles, transportation of goods like trucks and all. You get some goods to create chocolates. Canteen, you have to feed your employees so that they can work to create chocolates. The buildings, okay, place to create ideas, to keep machines. Again, all have same purpose actually. All these things, maybe they are different from each other. Your machines is not equal to a human being. These are living, these are non living, but they have a common purpose here. They have a common purpose here. All this object that is present inside this factory has a common purpose, that is to create the best chocolate in this world. Since they have a similar purpose, all this object has a similar purpose, and when this similar, now they have become similar in one way, that is they have similar purpose, and similar type of objects grouped together is known as a class. So this factory, this chocolate factory is nothing but it is a class, and all these objects are present inside this factory. So this class is nothing but it's a collection of similar type of objects. So like a factory where there are many things, means objects, and they have a common purpose. Like a chocolate factory, all the objects will work together to create chocolate. A steel making industry factory, the purpose of all the objects inside all these things are to create steel. So everyone has a common purpose, therefore we can say that a factory is nothing but it is equivalent to a class. So factory is a class, all the things inside this factory are objects, and all these things are present inside this factory, therefore we can say that a class is a collection of similar type of object, or according to the question, a class is nothing but it is a factory of objects. So today we learnt about Java, a little introduction to Java, what is an object and what is class. I think you have understand this beautifully. If you have any doubt, we have a discussion forum where you can ask your doubts and solve any small problems. Next class, we'll be talking about encapsulation and inheritance. Till then, have a nice day. Thank you very much.